Hello and welcome back to Coffee Kurosawa, the friendly film critic podcast. I'm Ben Filipkowski, your resident film freak.
And I am Farrah Sarpkaya, a person who loves film, but like in a super chill, I know the twist, but every time I am delighted sort of way. And this week we are watching Primal Fear. A quick trigger warning on this one. This film deals with some violence and themes of sexual abuse and coercion. As always, we'll also spoil the twist, so if you've not seen it yet, go do that. We will be here when you get back. So, released in 1996, this was Edward Norton's first credited role, but second listed on IMDb. And somehow Richard Gere's, like, millionth, because I didn't realize how long he's been acting, but anyway. We begin with hotshot Billy Flynn. No. Edward Lewis, no, Martin Vale, played by Richard Gere, giving an interview for a cover story about his work as the kind of hotshot defense attorney you only get in movies in the 90s, in like Law and Order era, OG Law and Order era. And he's getting ready for a charity event of some kind with the upper echelons of Chicago society, heavily featuring the Roman Catholic Church. One very uncomfortable and heavy quotations here flirtation with his ex-girlfriend and ex-employee Janet Venerable, played by Laura Linney. We pivot to the next day when beloved Archbishop Rushman is murdered in his home, and a young man named Aaron Stampler, played by Edward Norton, is brought into custody, covered in blood and seemingly terrified. So naturally, as this will be the case of the decade, our boy Marty has got to get a piece of the action. So he goes to Stanton in holding and discovers him to be this all-American 19-year-old altar boy with the demeanor of a Boy Scout, this real cute Kentucky accent, and an endearing speech impediment. So he's like, oh yeah, this is a ball in the pocket. So he offers to defend this boy pro bono. As he's attempting to prove Aaron's innocence, this case is derailed when he discovers that Rushman has been coercing Aaron, as well as his girlfriend and another altar boy, to perform sexually on tape, giving Aaron a very clear motive for murder. Fuming, he confronts Aaron, which triggers the emergence of a second personality called Roy. Marty struggles how to figure out how to introduce both the video and this new split personality evidence into court. It is too late in this universe to plead insanity, but he knows that if anyone, Janet Vale is going to question this boy and is going to trigger this switch because he knows that she's ruthless. And so he does, and she does. Roy ends up strangling Janet, she in court, in full view of the court, and he is deemed unfit to continue the case. In the aftermath, Marty goes to share the good news with Aaron. He's going to be remanded to a psych ward, and then, we'll see from there, can he be cured? Can he be freed? Whatever. But it turns out, spoilers, there never was an Aaron. It's been Roy the whole time. He's just been playing Marty and everyone else, and he gets off just about scot-free. And the film closes as Marty leaves the courthouse, out the back door, away from the cameras, away from the attention, away from the everything that he has built his career on, questioning everything that he's ever believed, and we fade to black. So, Ben, what did you think of this 30-year-old movie?
Two things. First thing, Roy's been here the whole time.
Yeah, he has.
And every day we stray further and further, and even further still, from the glory that is an early 90s movie soundtrack comprised of atmospheric and mysterious saxophone jazz. And I think we, as a culture, are lesser for it. This was the first time I'd seen this movie, and with that being said, it's this is like a 29-year-old movie. So the big twist had been heavily spoiled for me about 20 years ago when I was first becoming a movie buff. And as a result, the thing I'm kind of most interested in here is how they pull off that twist. And, of course, the performance behind it. Ed Norton got rave reviews for this. it certainly remains one of his most celebrated performances, so it was very cool to see the thing that put him on the map in a big way. I do know that dissociative identity disorder, which is the current accepted term that we use in lieu of multiple personality disorder, is decidedly not the thing that the movie is portraying it as. Even though it's not that thing in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he's faking
it.
He's faking the whole thing.
But as a dramatic tool, I think it works really well in the context of this film for that, halfway point twist. And then, of course, the big twist at the end. That being said, the thing that I've struggled with, and we were talking about this before, is that it's hard to look at this in any sort of critical sense and not think exclusively about the twist. So as a result, all I can do is be like, no one did a background check. No one picked up a phone and called Kentucky. And I think ultimately we were talking about this, that it really makes a case for, hey, maybe we've gone too far in one direction on spoiler culture. Because I can remember a time when you couldn't even say that something had a twist. That was constituted a spoiler for so many people. But now we've come so far in the opposite direction of you've had 3 hours to watch it. It's on you. Good luck. It's also it's part of a marketing campaign for movies now, the one of the more recent MCU movies, Thunderbolts. The week after its premiere, they're like, "Oh, and here's the real title for the movie, by the way. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge." That's a whole other thing. I do think there are a lot of really cool stories wrapped up in the murder investigation and the trial of this movie, though, and ultimately, I wrote down here that they don't have much of a bearing on what happens, but thematically, turns out they have a whole lot to do with it. They are tangential, but they are deeply related in so far as, maybe we're all putting on masks for the world to see. Interesting thought there. And through it all, of course, my comfort TV show, which is a thing that all us millennials seem to have, is Frasier, the original run. So this movie has John Mahoney in it. I love it for that. This movie also has a young Andre Braugher in it. I love it even more for that.
Yes.
They are both incredible performers. They both were incredible talents. So if nothing else, I love seeing them here. That being said, it must have been a little jarring for fans of Frasier to see Mahoney verbally berate someone named Marty, considering he plays Marty Crane and did so for over a decade.
When did Frasier start? When was it first released?
That's because this is 96.
This is 96.
This is 3 years into Frasier's run. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So. Yeah, so suddenly John Mahoney's in here cussing people out and being real terrible. I mean, obviously he is an actor and actors act, but
it's fun when they play against the type that you know and love. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You mean to say that John Mahoney did not walk with a cane his entire life? Man.
No, that's me. No. So, speaking of putting on masks, and we were, one of the things I really love about this film, other than how god darn good Ed Norton does at playing Aaron and playing Roy as two very distinct people, although he is the obvious example of what is described in the film as multiple personality, right? Of having multiple personalities. He is not the only one. And I want to talk about that because I think one of the things we were talking about before we hit record is the fact that you were kind of like, what is going on with all of this other stuff? And this feels extenuating. There's a word. This feels extra, whatever. But there's each one of the characters, particularly the main characters, they're very much themselves playing different people depending on who they are, what context they are existing in, and so on. And so let's start off with the man, the myth, the legend, Martin Vale. Because I joked at the top, like, Richard Gere, in a very short period of time, played 3 separate lawyers, and all of them were jerks in various ways. Billy Flynn from Chicago, and, what's it called? Edward Lewis in Pretty Woman.
Yeah, you listed off those names at the beginning, and I was like, I don't know who any of these people are. I clearly have not watched
Chicago.
Yeah, I have not watched.
We're gonna watch Pretty Woman soon. Yeah, he plays a sleazy lawyer in multiple things, but he's so gosh darn charming. Like, it's Richard Gere, right?
The charm undercuts the sleaze sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure does. And the reason why I really love that is because something that we do in media nowadays, oftentimes, not always, is we always know who the bad guy is because the bad guy is gross, or like he's sexist or racist, or he's a womanizer, or whatever. And we forget that in a world where everyone is complex, a person who is truly, actually, visibly bad all of the time isn't going to be in power because, well, anyway, isn't going to be able to rise to power in the ways that we think of because people are going to hate them. There has to be something good about them. They have to be charming. They have to be good at something enough that people aren't just going to dismiss them out of pocket, right? And Martin Vale, the way that Richard Gere plays him, most of the time, charming, just, a delight. But then you see glimpses of the way he talks to Janet.
Yeah.
Laura Linney's character. You see glimpses in the way he berates his employees. The way he talks to Aaron when he discovers that Aaron's been lying to him. Over and over, we see the mask slip just a little bit away from who he is as this charmer of the media.
Yeah.
Even when he's talking to the reporter and he lets the mask slip because he's been drinking because he's stressed about the case, and he tells a story to this reporter and he turns back as he's leaving and says, if you print a word of this, I'm going to sue you. We see those little moments of, oh, that's the shark.
Yeah.
And I love how he's done this, and how it's framed as, oh, everybody thinks he's this, like, glamorous, fabulous guy. Asterisk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, like, there's this notion here where, like, he is trying to position himself as this ruthless, almost amoral attorney. But the movie kind of undercuts it. And I think it's fair to say that it's also, like, Marty kind of undercutting himself. Because I think, like, ultimately he does have a good heart. I think that's part of the problem of this, is that he's not ruthless enough in a weird way. Like, if he was more ruthless, the events of this movie would not devastate him the way that they do. He's, I had a note here, like, you struggle because, like, is he meant to be ultimately sympathetic? Because does he truly believe in the presumption of innocence? He seems, like, sincere when he's telling the lawyer that. Also, point of order, you don't get to randomly say at the end or, like, halfway through, like, a conversation that something's off the record. That is not how that works. Marty does not have a leg to stand on here. If that reporter could just publish all of that, and it would not stop a lawsuit, but I don't think the lawsuit would be able to stand up in court. He does seem to believe people are innocent. Well, or does he? I don't know. I think he wants to.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's, I think he wants to win, but I think he also weirdly wants, like, absolution for himself. Like, there's this kind of, like, weird, psychological thing going on with him where it's like, maybe if he gets this kid off, like, it saves his soul somewhat. I don't know.
I mean,
but it's not like
maybe.
It's not a major theme or anything, but there's like an energy there sometimes where he starts to believe, genuinely. Because I think at first he's like playing up he is playing up certain angles. He is like trying to find a way to spin things. But the second that he realizes that there is a second personality that is probably responsible for all of this, he sees a way to save the kid's life. And I think that like he buys into it so much, and I think that is ultimately what leads to his like, I don't know. It's like he puts on another mask of like, now he is the righteous, attorney going after the evil of the world. And he tries to do that with Shaughnessy, calling the, can't remember Shaughnessy's title.
He's like
state prosecutor.
Prosecutor,
calls him to the stand and tries to like expose his dirty dealings. And he starts trying to do the right thing, but it's like, not the time. This is not the moment for it, and this is really not the case for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something there that is really interesting and compelling. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same gray area that Shaughnessy and Pinheiro, another criminal that Marty represents, that there's a lot of gray area here around who is good with a capital G and who is bad with a capital B, or evil, if you will, or whatever you want to label them as. Because we see, as Marty speaks to this reporter, he's like, I did some really bad stuff for Shaughnessy when I worked for the State's Department, when I was district attorney and all this stuff. And he wants absolution from that. He wants to get away from that. If I'm going to tarnish my soul, I may as well get paid real well for it, sort of thing. But also, I think we see him working with Pinheiro, this other criminal, and how much he believes in Pinheiro's cause of like protecting the neighborhood and like winning against the corrupt powers that be and all this stuff, and his rage when that goes poorly because Pinheiro is found in a car in the bottom of a river. And so it's like Shaughnessy is the power in the city. The Roman Catholic Church is the power in the city. And he's trying to be like the one that's going up against the big guys. And which, again, go watch Chicago because Billy Flynn sings about this explicitly. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it's not simple enough to say, is he supposed to be good or bad? I think the answer is yes to both things.
Yeah, he contains multitudes.
He is he and all the other characters that we get to know have a lot of this gray area. Aaron / Roy, which is his alternate personality's quote unquote name, is just the most obvious and most like sensationalized, if you will, in here. Yeah. Because then, like we said, we have Shaughnessy, who is state prosecutor or whatever, and we have Pinheiro, who's this hotshot criminal who's suing the state because of like harassment or whatever. Yeah. And Shaughnessy's like, listen, we'll give him the money, but he has to leave the state. And Marty's like, you can't do that. That's not a rule. There's nothing legal about this. He's like, I don't care. Yeah. He's going to do it or he's going to have a bad time. And he doesn't do it and he has a bad time. Yeah. But Pinheiro's whole thing is like, yeah, he's a criminal and a thug, but also he's trying to protect his neighborhood from gentrification and from all these like big companies coming in and turning them all into ritzy high-end condos where people can't afford to live. And like that gray area for both of them, because Shaughnessy presumably has been in this role for a very long time, has to keep the lights running in the city and stuff. He talks about like all the time I spent working on that sewer explosion or whatever and like cleaning up the city. That's still good
Yeah.
That's still good that he is doing. Does it balance out the bad? I don't know. But, yeah.
Yeah. I just... Have you ever seen the movie Black Dynamite?
Yes.
I just keep thinking with Pinheiro, I keep thinking of that line. It's like, but Black Dynamite, I sell drugs to the community. It's like he's the friendly neighborhood gangster. He's the... Mm-hmm. There's an energy about Pinheiro where it's like, well, at least I admit what I'm doing. Like he is harboring no illusions. So in many ways, mm-hmm. Pinheiro's not wearing any masks. He's just doing two things. You know, he's a gangster, and he's trying to help out his neighborhood. He's trying to help out his community. And mm-hmm. I think that winds up being like a really interesting foil to everything else going on, and particularly Shaughnessy, who is like probably the most immediate one-to-one analog that he has on, you know, the other side of the law. And Shaughnessy, I think, positions himself as this like noble mover and shaker in the city, doing the right thing. But Shaughnessy also has the most explicit, like, hey, you should have destroyed that evidence. Like, that's the most, like, mm-hmm. outright criminal thing he states. And it's also heavily, heavily implied that he is involved in Pinheiro's death. And, like, these things are these interesting thematic counterpoints are really fascinating. And, I don't know, until you had really pointed out, I had not thought one bit about like, oh yeah, everyone in this might have they might have a private and a public persona that they're trying to balance and show off to the world around. And yeah, I really enjoy it I enjoy those elements of it as a result. And I think Marty's entire story and the kind of weird duality that he's struggling with really prime him to just be completely emotionally devastated by the end of this movie. Yeah. And he kind of deserves it in some regards. You know, he's clearly done some shady stuff in his life, for sure. And just the entire... I wrote down the quote because Janet Venable has that line, because they have multiple conversations at the bar together, and elsewhere together, where they're able to kind of express themselves more fully. Excuse me. And she says, "You're so good in the courtroom and so bad in real life."
She is explicitly talking about timing.
Yes.
How can your timing be so bad? And
yes, but it as a line, it feels like a little microcosm of like that bigger theme of like, he is a performer. He is doing all these things. Yeah. But when it comes to like when it matters, he's just not there. He's not present. Mm-hmm. So he can do the razzle dazzle. Yeah. I'm gonna put so many Chicago references in here. He can razzle dazzle them with the best of them, but he just doesn't show up for that like really truly what it means to be good. Like capital G good. Mm-hmm. But I mean it's interesting because like if we look at the different foils, right, we have Shaughnessy and Pinheiro, we have Marty Vale and Aaron, but also we have the priest who's murdered as an interesting foil also to Aaron and Roy. Because Aaron, I'm just going to call him Aaron, murders this man, right? And he pretends to be someone he's not to get away with this murder. Sure. Okay. This priest has been pretending to be the pinnacle of goodness his entire career when he's been taking advantage of young people in his care for God knows how long. Yeah.
And the movie, I think, forces us, either consciously or unconsciously, to question when we are faced with that kind of thing of Aaron was taken advantage of for so very long. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Probably not great to murder your girlfriend, allegedly, to be Andre Bauer's character here. Allegedly murder your girlfriend and allegedly murder a priest. Also, the priest did some pretty awful stuff too. And so
Oh, yeah.
how do we then look at him as this person wearing two faces? The same way that Roy does, the same way that Martin does. Aaron just is explicit about it, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I really love the way it plays with that dishonesty and how it frames it as necessary in some ways and bad in other ways, or evil in other ways.
Yeah. Well, I also think that we got to talk a bit about the other, probably I would say almost more traditional foils to most of the cast, in that you have like Janet is such a clear foil for Marty in terms of like, they could not have more different perspectives on their jobs and their careers and their lives. Like, she is able to leave all of that at the door, and Marty can't. And it's not until she is threatened with death pretty much in the courthouse there when Roy emerges, air quotes. Like that's her point where she's like, nope, I'm done. I'm not going to try. Like, someone can prosecute this. I'm not going to try and prosecute this again. I'm out. And Andre Braugher plays, it's Tommy Goodman, the investigator that works for Marty. He is kind of like, he's, I don't want to say like culpable, but he's involved in, he's going to do some probably shadier things as part of his investigation. But he's an ex-cop as well. I think he's identified as an ex-cop. And he's the guy who takes possession of the videotape and gets it to Janet. The second he is called to the stand, though, he's like, oh, I've made a mistake. He immediately is like, he is harboring no illusions about like, oh no, this is just a job. This is not worth like. I'm not going to
perjure myself for this. I'm not going to perjure myself.
He's still an officer of the court in this instance, and like, he's a little cagey for a moment, and then he's just like, you know what? No, I got nothing. I can't do anything else here. And there's like a weird. He and it's Naomi is the I think she's a paralegal or a secretary that works for Marty. I don't know. It's like those two and Janet. They just seem to have like a, okay, cool. I'm at home now. I don't have to work. Like they leave the work at work. They don't necessarily always bring it home with them, which is such a nice breath of fresh air in this like otherwise extremely stressful movie.
Tommy has a wedding ring, so presumably his wife or partner are waiting at home. And just like, I don't know. How was your day, honey? I don't know, man. Marty's on about some nonsense again. This kid is taking him in. Like, I imagine those conversations happening. I also, point of order, imagine that Tommy is actually just the Captain Holt. Captain
Raymond Holt.
And, who was like, I'm going to be a cop. And then he's like, no, I'm going to try being a lawyer. And he's like, no, I don't want any of this. I'm going to go back being a cop. And then he and his husband have a happily ever after. That's canon in my head.
The only thing that pokes a hole in that is that Tommy is nowhere near as big a fan of grenades as Captain Holt is. So, because if it was Captain Holt, he'd be showing up with like a bandolier of grenades to everything he had to do.
Oh, he was young. Maybe he hadn't, explored his passion yet.
Yeah, he hadn't had the like formative experience with lobbing hand grenades.
Nonsense. But yeah, the fact that him and the paralegal get the beat on Aaron and are like, I don't know, Marty.
Yeah.
This seems a little shaky here, is very interesting because they're not shown to have these masks. I mean, they have the public and private personas of like, oh, when you're at home, you wear track pants. But like, we don't get the same, like, fully a different person.
Yeah.
That you are putting on for the world. which I find really interesting, that they are the ones that are like, that seems questionable.
They're kind of there, like Marty's telling them all this stuff, and they're kind of there going like, wow, that's crazy. Wow, no way. Okay.
When Marty's out of the office, they are at the water cooler just gossiping like nobody's business.
Yeah. That's And I mean, like, all of this like really thrives on the performances, I think. It's just I mean, we talked a little bit about Ed Norton as the dual role that is not a dual role. This is one of those things where it's like, on paper, you're like, oh, okay, it's about a split personality. Okay, interesting. And then you see it in the film, and it works so well. It is like he does an incredible job at changing his body language.
Oh my god!
Like he retains the accent, but the rhythm and the diction change. It's just an incredible shift, and there are two little shifts in it, because when Roy first appears, he's combative, but not fully violent. Like he's like 10%. I don't know. He's 20% violent. Yeah. And then like the subject of the tape comes up, and he just like goes 0 to 60 in no time. Like there's an odd shift, and it's because it takes what was like almost like played for comedy in a sense, like it's a shock, and then there's a bit of like a weird energy for a moment.
Well, I think because technically what you're referring to is the second time Roy pops out, because the first time Roy pops out,
I am.
It's with the therapist, because she taps on the video camera, and he just like swears at her real big, and she's like, oh, and then he blinks, and he's back to the cute like Southern boy. And the way that Norton uses his body to just like the posture, the glare, the shine in his eyes, like that switch, the mannerisms of fidgeting with like his hands or whatever, is just so good. Every time I'm like, oh my god, I want to be a fraction as good of an actor as this man.
Well, and he's got the sweatshirt and the sweatpants on. Yeah. And as Aaron, it's very like, it like flattens the shoulders down, so it's more like he seems like smaller. You were talking about how
he rounds his shoulders, so he looks real small. And then when he's got Marty pushed up against a wall, he looks like huge, shoulders up,
head back, like, and you see that there is a height difference between the two actors. Yeah, you were talking about that, and it's like it works real well. Yeah, it's real good stuff. Yeah.
Even just like the way that the other actors also interact with and play against this new quote-unquote character is so interesting, because they play the shock really well, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, Marty thinks it's a joke at first, is kind of the vibe. Yeah.
But then if we're going against this idea of everybody having these like different personas that they put on, these facades that they put on, the thing that you pointed out at the beginning was like, well, why didn't they just do a background check?
Yeah.
Right? But the thing I would counter to that is that everybody else refers to Aaron as Aaron. So he's been going by this cutesy little persona for a very long time.
Yeah.
Presumably to, get food and shelter and so on. And so even if they did do a background check, he probably wouldn't have existed, right? And, having listened to many a podcast on murder mysteries, cross-state line collaboration wasn't exactly a thing that often went so great, right? But there was a train of thought, and it just completely derailed,
It's almost like you need, like, like a team of people to investigate things across borders, like a bureau.
Crazy.
To handle it federally, or I don't know.
No, that's not. They don't do that. That's nonsense. Why would you choose? That's crazy. Right, yeah. So his reasons behind being this personality to get housing and whatever. At what point does his assumption of a name and etc. turn into a crime? Mm-hmm. Is the interesting thing for me, because like legally here in Canada, you can assume a surname. Fun fact, and I do because I got married, but I didn't want to legally change my name, and so in my personal life, I go by my married surname, and my license has it on it. Like I have my husband's surname on my license, but legally everywhere else, I'm just Farrah Sarpkaya, and that's legal. And so when we're looking at the crimes that Roy has committed, I suppose. Obviously, the murder is a problem. But, like, there's a coloring of the fact that he's been pretending all along that he's been this other person, but everybody's been pretending all along that they're these other people. And I think that argument then falls apart with all the other, people with the different personalities they've got. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like... Yeah, it's one of those things where we are cursed with knowledge. Because I don't... Like, for me, I feel like I heard about this twist when I was 16. And I was like, oh, cool, that sounds neat. I should watch that someday. And, I'm now 19 years later, I'm like, yeah, that would have hit a lot harder if I didn't know the twist. Yeah. So I'm shifting our topics here a little bit, but like we experience like one thing that you and I have talked a bit about here and there in the past is that we are both loosely in that camp of, well, it's the journey, it's not the destination. If something is spoiled for us, it won't necessarily ruin the overall experience of it all. Mm-hmm. But for this, I kind of wish I could go back and not know any of the twists involved in this movie. Yeah. I wish that I could just go into it completely unaware of what I was about to experience, because I think it would really hit a lot harder as a result, and I would probably be ranting and raving to everyone I know about, like, you gotta go watch this movie, it's incredible.
Yeah. But would you tell them there's a twist?
Just like, don't look a single thing up, just go watch it. Yeah.
It's true. Like, I'm fairly confident the first time I saw it, I did not know that there was a twist, because I don't look things up. We know this about me. And so unless I actively am looking for spoilers for whatever reason, I just go in blind as much as I possibly can. Even though, if I'm spoiled, I don't really care. It's like, whatever, okay. That I want to experience the thing. But I definitely did not see this, or like didn't see spoilers about it before. And so as Martin walks away from Aaron's cell and he realizes what he said, all of the pieces falling into place is a very cool experience.
Yeah.
And in this day and age where, like, the movie Seven, another film with a twist, the person because this is not that episode movie, I won't say who the twist is, but the person who is revealed to be the baddie is like an A-lister guy, right? And he was actively like, do not put my name in the credits. Yeah. Or like in any of the advertising, don't put me on the cover, blah, 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 because he wanted it to be a surprise. Yeah. And without that, and in a time where we have seen 80% of the outfits for Devil Wears Prada 2 already, I really do miss when I could be properly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how when Thor Ragnarok was coming out, all the trailers were like teasing the Hulk was going to be in it. Yeah. And then one of the trailers just revealed the Hulk's in it. That would have hit so much harder if we'd all just gone to the cinemas and we're watching it. We're like, oh boy, I wonder if they're actually going to do that thing where the Hulk shows up in this adaptation of the comic. That'd be really neat. Oh wow, the Hulk's in this. Incredible. That would have been such a good moment. And yeah, I feel like we're losing a lot of those big pop culture, cinematic, TV, whatever you want to call it. Like, we all experience this incredible twist. And it's like this thing where we are okay with everyone experiencing it for themselves. And then it slowly enters the lexicon of pop culture. Like, we're at a point where a TV show will air a new episode, and then within like an hour you have the recap coverage on film and TV blogs. And I don't begrudge any of the writers doing any of that stuff, because you got to earn a living somehow. But I don't know, like, we're losing something that way. And I don't know, I think like the advent of the internet has kind of made it inevitable that spoilers are so hard to avoid. But I didn't expect spoilers to be like part of the marketing strategy for things now. So
yeah, it's a weird one, because like I think my aversion to looking things up before I consume them stretches to books, stretches to all sorts of stuff. And so unless there's a very explicit reason why I'm looking something up, I just do the thing. And there have been a lot of media that I've been pleasantly surprised by, even unpleasantly surprised by, I'll be honest, but that I've been pleasantly surprised by. And like, if I had read more about that thing, I probably wouldn't watched it.
Yeah. I've had to stop looking up even positive reviews of movies that I'm interested in, or anything I'm interested in, because it winds up coloring my expectations of something, I think. So I don't know, when the that Marvel movie Eternals came out, it was getting like just roasted by word of mouth, and reviewers were like, this is such a middling movie. And I went and watched it, and I was like, that was incredible. I loved that. That was great. Yeah. Why did I, if I let all those reviewers like sour me on it, I would not have enjoyed that experience. And, I'm saying that as we're the Friendly Film Crit podcast, and we're giving our deep thoughts and opinions on these things. But I think that we try to only talk about things that we enjoy and not dunk on them too hard.
I mean, we're recording 2 episodes today. This is the magic of media. We just finished talking about Rogue One, and I think we dunked on it a little bit, but like from a place of joy and adoration, which is I'm sorry, adoration. I should make that a pun.
And TV series Andor? What? Oh my god, what a great recommendation.
What a great dude, had to. But at the same time, listen, this is a movie from 1996. Most of what we have talked about, most of the films we've talked about are, a couple of years old to like 100 years old. So I don't feel quite as bad about it. But I don't know. I think for me anyway, and maybe this is self-serving because we have a podcast where we talk about movies, there is a distinct difference for me between the next day there's an Instagram reel that auto plays on my phone giving me the full summary of the thing versus a podcast that talks about 30-year-old movies that also at the top literally said, if you haven't heard the spoiler yet, go watch the movie. Because there's like the nature of social media, and it's pushing content that autoplays, that spoilers everywhere, not just like spoilers generally, but like there's the little summary text underneath the thing, and you're like, well, I can't just, I just have to not be on social media, period. And it's like, well, I can't do that because of all the other reasons. It's just like, sometimes you just want to flip a table and be like, I just want to enjoy things.
I was watching, I wasn't watching, before the Star Wars the Force Awakens came out. I think it was on like Twitter when Twitter was still Twitter, and I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna be scrolling on this, whatever, no big deal. And then someone was like, man, I can't believe they killed off Han Solo. I was like, God, like,
oh my God, guys.
And it was like,
Spoilers
it was from someone
who
who you think would be good at that, at like not giving away that sort of thing. And I was like, why are you and I like replied, I'm like, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate that.
It's been out for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Can't do anything.
Yeah. It's weird because there's a yes, you can do what you want on your own socials.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, whatever. And also consideration for your fellow people of like, hey, this is a thread about this thing. If you haven't seen it, skip it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just...
Yeah,
I'm just so tired of seeing Devils Wear Prada outfits. I just want to see the fits in the movie. That's all I want. I don't want to see them on people. Yeah. I have to unsubscribe from everything if I don't want to see the...
I mean, I think that there's certainly a time and a place for being like the obsessive fandom, letting the obsessive super fan in you kind of like run amok and be like, ooh, I'm going to gobble up all these little morsels of set photos and things. And like, I remember times in my life where that has been like really fun and exciting. It was for Rogue One, case in point. That was it was a lot of fun following all the stuff around that when that was coming out. But yeah, there's like there's obviously like a thing where it's like, you know, if the twist is central to something, as they kind of are, maybe we should let more people come to that on their own terms versus
just the day after, like, ta-da!
Yeah. And admittedly, I'm talking about this all in the context of something that came out when I was like 6 years old, so I've had plenty of time to watch this, but. Yeah, it would have hit so much harder if I had no idea what I was in for. If it was just like, you should go watch this legal drama. I'd be like, oh, okay. Not my usual thing, but sure, I'll check it out. Mm-hmm. And then I would have had my mind blown.
Yeah. There is something to be said about going into things without knowing so that you can just experience in the moment and just be like, wow. And just sit there and be like, I watched absolutely nothing about K-pop Demon Hunters, and I am in love with that movie, and we'll talk about it one day. But I was in the car with my husband, and I was like, there's a song from this movie that we need to add to our singing rotational, because we have a playlist that we sing along together with. And he was like, don't play it for me so I can hear it in the movie. And I was like, damn. Okay.
Okay, but...
So now I have to watch it. But...
Okay, but what's the song? What song is it? Is it Soda Pop?
It's the duet.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
It's the duet, obviously. 'Cause I sing the rest of them myself.
Yeah.
But he can... Imagine Brandon singing Soda Pop, though, actually.
That song. So Rachel and I watched that, and Soda Pop is like Rachel's jam right now. Yes. So as a result, it is also stuck in my head, and I really enjoy it.
Good. I'm just gonna sneak Soda Pop on his playlist now, because we both have playlists for singing along because we're giant nerds. But anyway, beside the point. The pleasure of experiencing something, be it a surprise, be it music, be it whatever, is very powerful, because if we know the twist, we are looking for details that support the twist that we know is coming, right? Like, you knew that Edward Norton was playing someone who had, in theory, supposedly dissociative personality disorder, and didn't actually. And so, and as someone who has seen it before, now when I watch it, I look for it. I look for those moments of him being a liar. And if you already know the twist, you're already looking for those little moments. So you don't necessarily appreciate in the same way the other shoe drops at the end. And you're like, oh, God. We've all been bamboozled.
Yeah. There's I think someone pointed out, I read a bit of trivia somewhere where they point out that like they call out that the killer was like left-handed or right-handed.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then you see Aaron is the opposite hand or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Roy is the killer's handedness.
Yes.
But then like there's a point where it like breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
Where and like if you're paying close enough attention, you would realize like, hang on, he's doing the good guy is doing it with the wrong hand, but like you have no reason to pay attention to that at that point.
Yeah,
I think that's an incredible bit of detail that they threw in there, and just
Norton is one of my favorite actors of all time, and his physicality is one of those reasons. Like this, Fight Club, just about anything he's ever, even the magician one, Illusionist, like anything he's ever been in. I'm just like, the detail with which this man utilizes physical tics and his own presence is so good.
Yeah.
Like that moment with him and Marty in the cell or in the interview room where he makes himself so much bigger, where he holds himself with so much more swagger, where Aaron is like this wilting flower. He's just like this gregarious personality. And they do that really well throughout the film when they're trying to show the relationship between Marty and Aaron.
Yeah.
Because they go from like the first time we see the two of them, Marty walks into this cell and he's just like full of like, I'm this big shot, hotshot attorney, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do your defense for free. Praise me for it, basically. And he's literally sizes up Aaron to be like, your suit size is whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know suit sizes. And Aaron is like, you know, in shoes with no laces and track pants and whatever. And this next time we see him, he's like huddling on the bed a little bit in a little ball. But then Marty is standing up, and then slowly Aaron and he become level.
Yeah.
And then we have the switch of Aaron/Roy being taller, broader, stronger than him. And then at the end, it actually reminds me a lot of High and Low.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah.
Because
the confrontation.
Yeah. Because the shot where the door to the cell is open and we see Aaron/Roy clearly, but Martin is behind the bars. And he is the one that's, you know, he goes to leave, shuts the door. He realizes how he done screwed up. And Aaron's voice comes from the cell, and he just goes back, and he's just like, what?
Yeah.
And you see Roy so perfectly framed here, and it's just the way that they visually tell the power dynamic between the two of them, of like, Marty thinks he's in control, but he's not even a little bit in control in this moment, is so good.
Yeah.
So good. And yeah, really reminded me of that last scene in High and Low, where our lead is like talking to the murderer and it's just, or the kidnapper.
Yeah.
He just sees himself reflected back of, oh no.
Yeah. The bit, because I think like the Marty goes back in as like the camera is just focused on Aaron's body language, like his face isn't in frame, and then you see like a shift in how he carries himself and his hands, and he does like the slow clap. Mm-hmm. That's a really good moment. And I think of that bit in The Dark Knight when they've caught the Joker.
Yes.
And he's doing the like, everyone's like, oh, please let me welcome the new Commissioner Gordon. And then like the Joker's doing a clap with everybody. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think of that, like, it's like the same energy of like deeply traumatic clapping.
Deeply traumatic.
Deeply traumatic applause. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Man, oh man.
Good film.
Good.
I enjoy it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Good freaking movie.
So as we near the end, as we do, if you're gonna learn anything about movies, what are you gonna learn about Primal Fear?
I think this is probably this is a great example of I don't know, it's almost like the power of like dramatic irony in a sense. I don't know that it's necessarily like exactly dramatic irony, but there's something here about like we the audience becoming privy to something that only like Marty and the psychologist and Aaron/Roy know, and that kind of thing. I don't know. I think this is like a great, really textbook way to do a good twist. They don't tip their hand too much. There aren't any like, as much as I'm talking about like, oh well, like a simple background check would ruin this. It's like, well, like if you throw that in, it ruins the whole movie, and that's not the point. The point of the movie is for you to be caught up and swept up in this, and. If you had just gone into this like any audience member when it premiered in 1996, you would have no idea what you were in for, and it would have been incredible. Yeah. So, I mean, like, if you've listened to this before you've watched the movie, I'm so sorry, but,
we did warn you.
Yeah, you goofed. You've done bad here.
No, you'll still love it.
Yeah.
Because it is a really incredible experience in acting and storytelling, and like the journey is not ruined by the spoiling of the ending. I don't think it's not the same, but I don't think it's ruined.
Yeah. And I mean, if nothing else, you've got Andre Braugher, you've got John Mahoney, you got Laura Linney, Alfre Woodard, who we did not really mention at all, is also in this.
She's a judge.
That one guy from Lost, I have not seen Lost, so I can't really speak to Terry Quinn's presence.
It's a stacked
cast. Real stacked cast. And this is a good movie.
Yep.
I should have watched it years ago.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah. I should have watched it before I got spoiled about it, but there was probably a point in time where I forgot that, and that would have been the sweet spot to watch it. Yeah. But if you're just looking to watch something on a Friday night, beyond the copious reasons we have just listed, Farrah.
We do this every time. Because Edward Norton crushes it, because Richard Gere crushes it, because the whole cast crushes it, quite frankly. And because it is a really cool look at deception and storytelling and morality, and just because it's good. I don't know, just a good movie. Just watch it because it's good.
Yeah.
I hope that you took our advice and skipped the podcast until you could watch the movie. But if you didn't, go watch it anyway because it's great.
Yeah.
There's no Eddie for Shaughnessy to carry around, but that's fine. We can go back to Frasier and watch it. Go watch all the other places that Richard Gere's a lawyer.
Yeah. I just realized that this entire time, if you're watching the video of this is a wonderful illustration I have of Frasier Crane's apartment. It's just been sitting up here the whole time, and I forgot about it until now.
It's been here the whole time. I like that we bookend this episode with Game Changer references.
I kept thinking of the that makes some noise bit. I was like, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you know, my client has been accused of some very serious crimes. Like, I did it.
Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
That's the weirdly apropos reference point for this movie.
And now you've spoiled makes it... I'm kidding.
Spoilers all the way down.
all the way down. So if you want to follow us on socials and not really get spoiled, we don't really post spoilers for media on our socials. You can find us at Patreon as Coffee and Kurosawa. You can also find us on Blue Sky as Coffee Kurosawa Pod. You can find me on Blue Sky, Substack, and Letterboxd as Farrah Sarpkaya, and you can find me also at sarpkaya.ca, where I lend my voice as a voice actor. Ben, where can the people find you?
The folks can find me on Blue Sky as at the Benjamont and on Letterboxd as at Benjamont. The only thing that I will spoil on either of those locations is the overall vibe. I'll just come in here with inane movie trivia. That's what I do.
I do love inane movie trivia. I do love it. Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're friends.
That's why we're here.
So thank you for listening, and we will see you next time on Coffee and Kurosawa.